There's a phenomenon of about 411 missing people near national parks in the U.S., and it's becoming more prominent of an issue as unexplained disappearances of children and adults increase in numbers. There's been movie trailers, documentaries, stories, even independent researchers all over YouTube, but yet we have any new information to go on based on the multiple disappearances. And for decades, a big number of people have gone missing around the county, especially places like Lake Tahoe and Mount Charleston in the Nevada area. Author and retired police officer David Paulides wrote a book about these strange cases called The Missing 411 or Missing 411, which talks about this very real problem and theorizes about how and why these disappearances continue on to this very day. David got the idea for his book after speaking with a ranger who came to him about the people that go missing on an annual basis. This is not an every now and then situation. Yearly, perhaps hundreds of people go missing. And we all know that people disappear in the wilderness all the time. But we're talking about something much different. Just unusual things that make you scratch your head all day trying to figure this mystery out. It just don't make any sense whatsoever. Sometimes it be 3, 4, as many as 20 to 30 different people missing at one location. Think about that. Paulides said the first publicized report of a missing child was in a newspaper column back in 1966. The boy was 6-year-old Larry Jeffrey, who was vacationing with his family. He walked away from his brother near Mount Charleston and never returned. The local authorities set out on a 5-day search made up of a few hundred men. There were no large animals in the area or car access, so if Larry wasn't eaten by a predator or snatched by a kidnapper, then just what happened to that boy? Now that remains a mystery today as he was never found, and with no solid explanation for his disappearances, it's as if he simply vanished into thin air. Another yet interesting case concerns a mountaineer named Carl Landers, who was 69 years old at the time. He vanished on Mount Shasta while hiking with friends. They were camping at a location called 5050, and that name alone sends chills up my spine. Well, it's a place on a mountain where climbers can stop and rest before reaching the summit. And according to his friends, Milt Gaines and Barry Gilmore, Carl had complained about not feeling well and decided to take a head start towards Lake Helen. His friends never caught up with him, and they never saw him again. Carl was described as a very experienced climber, so it was unlikely he failed. The county sheriff's department immediately set out on a search along with the National Guard, covering the air using the infrared helicopter and the U.S. Rangers, along with several different volunteers, covering the ground on foot and skis. All of this was to no avail because no trace of Carl was ever found again, not even his equipment, backpack, or clothing. What or who is behind the mysterious disappearances of thousands of people? David Paulides, a former policeman, had compiled enough data to notice that these isolated missing persons cases were beginning to form clusters around certain mountainous regions. And these clusters were of some of the most eerie cases he had uncovered, in which missing people, mostly children like I was saying earlier, vanished into oblivion. And sometimes the only clues left by the unfortunate souls were just their clothing, which, by the way, was neatly piled. Very bizarre indeed, and I can't wrap my head around this story here. It's very, very weird. Let's continue, shall we? Because this story gets even deeper and even weirder. And we're not even done there. The bizarre phenomenon has an even more bizarre beginning. According to Mr. Paulides, his painstakingly and meticulous research didn't come from an abrupt curiosity. He was visited one night by a government employee who had very interesting information to give up. The agent said that he saw children climbing mountain ranges in short time and children who ran across rapid moving rivers that were found alive and with no recollection of how they'd arrive on the other side. I told you to get more bizarre than this. Let's keep on digging. There's been multiple documentaries TV shows, independent bloggers, YouTube videos, you name it on this very subject, and yet no one's not even remotely close to ever getting a decent answer to this weird occurrence. It just seems to defy explanation. Often the victim are children whose bodies are later found in seemingly impossible locations. Sometimes the kids are found 10 to 15 miles from the point they were last seen, or better yet, they're found 5,000 feet higher in elevation than where they discovered. Could the missing 411 be part of a government cover up? Retired cop David Pilates has written several books under the title Missing 411. The books details hundreds of these cases and locations. That is just too bizarre. I was your host, Price. This brought with another video. Thank you for visiting my channel. Be sure to give it a like, thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, and until next time, everybody, peace and continue to have a good one. Later.